What is up, Cowboy Nation? Dallas fan 1997 here, guys. And Cowboys lose pretty badly, I would say. I mean, the score shows 21-31. Well, let's be honest, man. The Rams just dominated the Dallas Cowboys. Basically a repeat of the practice we had against them from reports. And unfortunately, there were parts of the game I missed. I was working, so I didn't, I got to see, portions of the game, but I did miss a quarter because I was working. But man, oh man, what a disappointment. First of all, our defense is absolute trash. I know that this is the preseason. I know a lot of these guys are backups, but man, the way that the Rams just ran the ball down our throat, it's a problem, Fan Nation. And the people can say, oh, well, Dallas fan, it's just backups. You do realize a lot of these players are going to be playing, right? Guys like Jay Toya are going to be playing, although Jay Toya had some decent moments at times. Guys like Andrew Booth, Robert Rochelle, Marquise Bell, these guys are going to be guys. They're backups, but they're guys that are going to be playing in the regular season. Heck, Kaiir Elam was out there, and he was looking terrible. And he is going to be our starter going into the year because Rebel and Diggs aren't going to be back yet. So our secondary is hot garbage, just absolutely trash. Granted, we're beat up and hurt, but man, our backups are just really, really bad. Our linebackers did not look great out there today. Maris Leofau, he's another guy that's starting, and I like Maris Leofau. Maris Leofau did not look great out there today. There was no pass rush whatsoever. 53, James Houston did get a little bit of pressure at times, but there really was not much of a pass rush. The pass rush was was just nowhere to be found. The run defense is atrocious. The Rams we could not stop the run for anything. I was expecting the Cowboys to struggle to stop the run because we really didn't do much to address it in the offseason, but man, oh man, Fan Nation, they looked bad. They looked absolutely terrible, and it was all throughout the game. The run defense was terrible all throughout the game. It was bad. As for Brian Schottenheimer, man, Brian Schottenheimer, I made a video a couple months back when he got hired that he would be the worst head coaching hire since, since Dave Campo. And, yeah, that's exactly what it looked like today. Not playing Tyler Booker, I think, is a mistake. Even though I know he's a starter, he's a rookie, man. He needs all the reps he can get. To not play him this first game, and if he doesn't play him the next two games, to expect him to go against the Eagles, one of the better defensive lines in the NFL, to start his career it's just bad coaching. The coaching out there was really bad today. I did not like Brian Schottenheimer's decision-making to kick the field goal. I would understand kicking the field goal before halftime if this were the regular season because you want to play it safe. That's something Mike McCarthy often didn't do, and it cost us some games. But this is preseason, man. There's no reason to, at least give your young guys a go. His play calling in the first quarter was atrocious. The play calling in the first quarter, Fan Nation, was horrible. Absolutely horrible. We did not run the ball a single time the first two series in the entire first quarter. Brian Schottenheimer has prided himself on being a run-first team. And the funny thing is, the run game actually worked today, which I want to get into. I thought that Phil Maffa had a pretty good game. Phil Maffa looked good out there at times. Malik Davis at the end of the game looked good at times. When the Cowboys actually ran the football, we actually made some progress. We made some yards. But Brian Schottenheimer went all pass happy in that first quarter, and it was just terrible. Now, let's get to Joe Milton. Man, oh man, Fan Nation. I hate to say this. I may have been wrong about Joe Milton. Now, Joe Milton, you could see the arm strength. You can see some of the talent. But, man, His accuracy is still very inconsistent, looks very similar to how it did at Tennessee. He did get better towards the end of the game. He did throw a nice touchdown at the end of the game to 45. And he had a nice 2-point conversion throw to, I think it was Josh Kelly. So he did make a few good throws in this game, but man, oh man, I was thinking that there's a chance that, maybe he could, be good enough to take over for Dak Prescott, even though I'm not a big fan of Dak Prescott, even though I'm very critical of him. I don't think Joe Milton is better than Dak Prescott at this point. Until Joe Milton can get his anticipation and timing and his touch and accuracy down, because it still looked really bad out there at times today, he's not going to be better than Dak. And I was really mad when Mickey Spagnola was saying stuff like that Will Grier would make a better backup than Joe Milton, because he while he doesn't do anything crazy, he does a lot of the little things you need to do as a backup well. So far in this first game, I hate to agree with Mickey Spagnola, but he's kind of right about that, man. I mean, Will Grier is not great. Like, I don't think Will Grier would ever be like a true, legit starter. But in terms of what you need your backup to do, Will Grier, I feel like, so far showed that he did a better job of that than Joe Milton. Now, this is the first game. Maybe Joe Milton gets better next week. Maybe he'll be a little bit better. Who knows? I mean, again, he made some good throws out there today, but he made some really bad throws too. But, man, in terms of him taking over for starter for Dak, I was definitely wrong about that. I wasn't necessarily expecting it. I was just hoping that he would, be good enough, my hope was definitely it was in the clouds. It was not realistic, because even though Dak Prescott has looked pretty bad in training camp, and I still stand by that Joe Milton has looked better than him at times during training camp, I still think Dak is probably the better overall quarterback than Joe Milton. And even then, I still felt like that Dak was better. I really did, but I didn't think there was like a huge difference. I still don't think it's a $60 million difference, but still, yeah, Joe Milton, he's got a stronger arm for sure. He's definitely got more athleticism than Dak does when it comes to using his legs and stuff, but he's got to work on his touch and his anticipation and timing. Really disappointing at times, but he did have some good throws. He had some good moments, but yeah, he's not ready to, take over for Dak Prescott yet. So if anybody, including myself, is thinking that, I don't think, I hope, but yeah, Joe's not there yet. He's not ready to start. Nowhere even close. But yeah, was not impressed with Brian Schottenheimer. I did not like the way he used his personnel out there today. I really think that Booker should have played. I honestly think some of the stars like BB and some of these other guys, and honestly, even Dak Prescott, I feel like Dak Prescott should have gone out there and played a series or two. I mean, it's crazy to me that the Cincinnati Bengals, who have Joe Burrow, who is an actual elite quarterback. I know a lot of people like to say Dak's a top 5, when in reality he's just a middle-of-the-pack quarterback. Somebody like Joe Burrow, that's a true elite quarterback, actually gets a chance, to play, but Dak can't play. And we wonder why Dak Prescott, even his MVP season in 2023, where he put up good numbers, he did not look very good until after the Chargers game. It took him like almost half of the season to finally start looking good. And it's because he hasn't been getting those preseason reps, real game reps. And I really wish Shoddy would have gone out there and played him. But, man, I have not been impressed with Shoddy. And so far, he's on the trajectory to prove me right about him being the worst hire since Dave Campo. Shoddy's got to change some stuff up, man, because what he's doing today is not working. The team was incredibly undisciplined. 11 penalties is just unacceptable. I used to get after Mike McCarthy for having a lot of penalties. I'm going to get after Shoddy. Shoddy, 11 penalties in a game is unacceptable. You're trying to build this disciplined football team. This team looks soft. This team looks incredibly unprepared. They're soft, man. There's talent on this team. There is, but they're soft. Mentally, they're soft. Physically, they play soft. They're not disciplined. They're not focused. They're out there goofing off, doing the whole freaking riding the broomstick thing, man. This is not good, Shoddy, man. This is not a good look. When you have your players out there and then they show it in the game, it's not good, man. It's not off to a good start, Shoddy. You got to do a better job than that, man. Got to do a better job. I feel like the offensive line actually looked pretty decent. I don't think our offensive line was too bad. I like the play of them. I think our offensive line is strong. I think the Cowboys and our run game. The two best things about this team I saw out there today was the offensive line and the run game. I think our offensive line and our run game can be really, really good. Shoddy has to stick to running the football, but I do think the Cowboys can be effective if they're able to run the foot. I like the running backs we got, and I like the offensive line we got. That's probably the only things on the team that I really like. Everything else, and the receivers, I think we have some good wide receivers, but it's hard when the quarterback's not getting it to them on a consistent basis. But wide receivers, running backs, and offensive line is probably the only positives on this team. Defensively, garbage. Everything looks bad. Quarterback-wise, Joe Milton was a disappointment. I'm hoping that he gets better next week, but he's got a long way to go if he ever wants to get a chance to start. I'm just going to say that. So that's my thoughts on the first preseason game. Let me know what y'all think. Peace out.